on, guys? Justin Fuller here, and today I'm talking about the 2023 Accord. If you're wondering, is it any different from the 2022? Well, we're gonna go over that. And of course, how does this car stack up to other makes and models out there in the world? We're gonna go over that too. So let's hop on in. All right, guys, so let's talk about what's underneath the hood of this 2023 Honda Accord. So I'm gonna pull you on in. So what you're looking at is a 1.5 liter turboed engine putting out 192 horsepower. Now, if you're wondering, how is this different from the 2022? That's because it's not. You don't have anything to worry about. There's some different trim levels that you'll find between the 22 and the 23, but on your base model that's non-hybrid, it is a 1.5 liter turbo putting out 192 horsepower. While I'm under here, I'll just point out real quickly, fuse box, easy to access the battery, all of your terminals as far as getting to your reservoirs, your oil, fluids, all of that, very easy to get to underneath here. So guys, before we go any further, I want to do a comparison so you can understand how this car stacks up to not only previous year's model, which it isn't any different, but also other makes and models that are out there that would be competitors for this car. So I'm going to throw that up on the screen so you can see how this competes. Now understand that in the 2023 model and 2022, they offer a hybrid now. Not specifically in the EX, but there is a hybrid out there. So I'm going to throw that up on the screen as well so you can understand, hey, if I'm looking at the 2 liter with the hybrid versus the 1.5, you know, what's the difference there? And then of course, what else is out there in the market this is competing in that's a standard gasoline engine. All right, guys, so next I want to talk to you about something pretty important to pretty much everyone out there, and that's of course gas. So first off, connected the door lights, kind of cool, and it's capless, so you don't have to worry about you know, not tightening that and having to check engine light come on. But I want to talk to you about MPGs. So this car gets 29 in the city and 37 on the highway. Right? If you're going above this to one of the hybrid models, I'll give you that too. The Accord Sport Hybrid gets 46 in the city and 41 on the highway. And then if you jump to the EXL, which is actually gonna tone it way up, you're looking at 51 in the city and 44 on the highway. So depending on the model, you've got a lot of different options as far as gas mileage goes. But I wanna stop for a second and throw a comparison up on the screen so you can understand how this specific car, the EX model getting the 29 and 37, compares to other makes and models out there in the world. Once you've taken a look at that, we'll keep on going. Yeah, that's right, I'm sitting in the trunk of this car. Just to let you know that it has 16.7 cubic feet of space in the trunk. Now, if you're thinking, hey, what about the 2022 or what about the hybrid model? Also 16.7 cubic feet of space in this car. But while I'm back here, I want to point out a couple things. One, this one's got a trunk tray in it that you can see kind of running right here. It's a plastic rubberized piece. You can get them through Honda, or I'll throw something in the description if you're looking for one for a little bit cheaper. I can usually help you out with that. Back here, I'll also point out it's got a 60-40 split, meaning that I can fold down 2 different pieces. To do so, I've got a handle right here, and then I've got another one sitting back behind me over here. Before we head into this second row and talk a little bit about leg space, some amenities, and kind of what the feel of it is, I want to do a comparison of the cargo space in this car to other makes and models out there in the market. So I'm going to throw that up on the screen, and you can check it out. I want you to understand how the 16.7, whether you're in the hybrid, you're in the non-hybrid, or you're in the previous model, right, the 2022, stacks up to all those other makes and models out there. Hey, before we hop into the second row, there's 2 things that I want to point out in the back here. First off, this car comes with carpet floor mats. Every single model from Honda does, so know that. You don't have to pay extra for them. Kind of cool to know. And then secondly, in here, if you come up under here and you come under this piece right here, this is where you're gonna find your jack and your accessories, and then underneath your spare, which is full height, just not full width, so a little bit bigger than a donut. And then you've also got this funnel right here. If you didn't know what this funnel's for, if you walk around here, you ever run out of gas, you need a way to hold this open to pour gas. That's what this is for. Stick it in there, and you pour gas in if you didn't have a gas can. Here we are in the second row of this 2023 Honda Accord, and you've got plenty of leg space. I mean, I've got quite a bit. Even when I push the driver's seat back, I've still got inches to go. So in the back, you have got 40.8 inches of leg space in this vehicle. Now, if you're comparing that to the previous generation, right, the 2022, 40.4 inches. So 0.4 inches bigger, so let's just arguably say it's negligible. Hybrid, the exact same spacing as far as the front rear seats, so all of that's gonna be the same. I wanna throw something up on the screen so you understand how this car's back leg space competes with other makes and models out there in the world. Once you've taken a look at that, let's look at some materials and kind of what's going on back here. So in the 2023 Honda Accord EX, you're gonna be looking at cloth interior with like a plastic side panel here, right? So you can see back here that I've got the cloth finish. This is like a beige or a tan interior. Single pocket back here, the notorious no pocket behind the driver's seat. Still don't know why. On your driver's side here, you've got kind of a rubber finish, excuse me, on your passenger side, a rubber finish with, of course, your window controls, and then like a dark plastic with black. I like that it's all black and uniform here to prevent glare, and it just gives it a little bit more uniform look to prevent that dirt and grime that you might get with your hand. Now, this is where things get a little bit funky for me. This is devastating in the state of Texas. I think we're on day 40 of it being in triple digits, and the rear of this car doesn't have AC vents, nor do you have USB inputs. I don't think you find that in a single trim level of the Accord. To me, that is a wild mistake that these guys have made. However, if you live in a more moderate climate, maybe this isn't a big deal, but here in Texas, specifically Austin, this is a no-no. All right, guys, so before we go any further in this video, there's a couple things that I want to talk to you about. The first is trim level comparisons. That can be the most confusing part for most people that are out there shopping for a car. Even if you've already decided you want a Honda, and specifically Accord, but you're not sure which trim level, it can be really hard to figure out. So I want you to understand that there is an LX and then an EX. That is what we're sitting in currently. Above that, there is a Sport Hybrid, then an EXL Hybrid, and then I believe the Touring. So some different trim levels that are here. So I want you to understand what's below and what's above. So if you are moving from this car down to the LX, I'm gonna throw something up on the screen so you can understand, one, how much money you're gonna save, but then two, what features are you gonna give up? You know, am I giving up wired CarPlay or CarPlay altogether? Am I giving up, you know, certain features? A moonroof, right? Am I giving up a certain size wheel or whatever the case may be? So take a look at that list and understand, I can drop down, I can save some money, but these are the items I'm giving up. Now I wanna do the same thing. If you're jumping up to the next model above this, which would be the Sport Hybrid, what is that gonna get me, but what's gonna cost me? So I want you to understand, one, hey, it's gonna cost X amount of more dollars, so you can see that on screen, and then two, what's the list of items that I'm adding to the car, right? Is it worth it to pay that extra money to have those things, and to also get that, what was it, 46 in the city and 41 on the highway? So maybe that gas mileage is worth it, plus these list of items is worth a couple $1,000 to you, I don't know. But I want you to have an understanding for what's below, what's above, so that you can really make a strong decision understanding how this car stacks up. One, just compared to the cars above it and below it as far as trim levels. And then two, you can make that ultimate decision of, should it be a Honda, should it be a Toyota, should it be a Subaru, should it be a Hyundai, a Kia, whatever the case may be. So before we go any further into this video, guys, I want to take a second just to say thanks to our sponsor, which is Ekster. These guys make smart wallets, bags, and accessories. To kind of give you a little background, as they reached out to me, I'm a guy who comes with a normal wallet who had about 15, 16 cards, and let's be honest, if you sit around long enough, it starts to hurt your ass, whether you're driving or just sitting at your desk doing work, right? So from there, I said, okay, I'm downsizing, I'm going to a smaller wallet, which is cool enough, right? It holds about 6 cards, it's got a deal on the back here to store some money, but that's it, right? It's very, you know, basic finish. Well, the guys at Ekster shot over to me and said, hey man, I've got a couple things, will you take a look at them and see what you think? So I said, okay, send them on over. So they sent me 2 of their smart wallets, and they're a nice polished finish, right? So I've got kind of a graphite finish here and then more of a just basic brushed aluminum here. But what makes them different from my other wallet is that, one, I've got this switch on the back right here to where I can press it, boom, it shoots out all my cards. So still holding 6 cards, but it's much easier to get to them, right? I'm not playing the game of digging through these, trying to get to the right card, and then eventually this starts to get loose and they just fall out, right? So they've done something a little bit different here with these to where I can just press it, boom, it shoots out the card that I need, and on the back. Now, if you're thinking, hey, I need to track more than 6 cards, Justin, where am I gonna store those? Well, on the back of this, they've got an RFID plate here to help protect additional cards if you need to keep them outside of the wallet. Meaning that I can store them there and not have to worry about anybody trying to steal my identity, my credit info, whatever the case may be with scanners and, you know, all the different technologies out there in the world today. So a cool idea that they've done here for their wallets, and it's just a nice polished, nice looking finish, right? So cool idea. Now, on top of that, they're doing something extra that I really, really like, and that's they've got into the business of trackables. So if you needed a way to track your wallet, well, why not do so? You could simply stick this in your wallet and make it trackable, and it's solar powered, guys. So that's what you can see right here. It's a little tiny solar powered panel. Not only do they do wallets with this sort of idea, but they also offer the round trackables, much like a towel or AirTag, to where if you want to track keys, golf carts, jump boxes, a bag, anything specific, you absolutely can. So take this simple guy, stick it in my wallet, and now boom, I can track this using their app, which is Chipolo, and be able to find out where that item is at any time. So some very cool stuff that they're doing in the trackable world, and then just smart wallets in general. And then you can check out their bags and accessories, but these are kind of the items that appeal to me. So let's hop back into the video. But before I say that, if you are interested in these items, I just want to let you know that you can absolutely check out the description of my video, where I will have a link and of course some coupon code savings in case you decide you want to buy these. Let me save you a couple bucks to do so. All right, guys, so here we are in the front row, and I want to talk to you, of course, about leg space up here, and then, of course, all the amenities and things that live in the front, right? So this car has got 42.3 inches of leg space in the front of this vehicle. That is the exact same in all the trim levels, and of course, the previous generation, and I think it's the same for like, I don't know how many years. So not a lot of change as far as leg space goes. Now, I want to throw that comparison up so you can see how this car's front row leg space can compete with other makes and models out there in the world. After we've done that, I want to walk you through a couple of the amenities and things that you're going to see kind of in the dash dash, and so forth and so on, before we start talking about the touchscreen and all the safety features that the car has to offer. So in the front of this car, you can of course see that you have the same tan interior that you in the back, and then I got the same door configuration with the tan and the black. I've got a leather finish as far as right here in the center console, so kind of nice to know that you have that. Flips open, I've got plenty of space living in here, and then I've got an additional port in here, which is like your cigarette lighter port. Now, as we come across the center of the dash here, I want to point out a couple things. My electronic parking brake, my brake hold, auto start stop if I want to turn this feature off, my econ, so to improve gas mileage of the car beyond that 29 and 37 in the city, and of course my standard shifter. What I do like that they've done here now is that I can fit my phone right here if I want. So if I'm driving by myself, I can have a drink, have my phone, or vice versa, versus kind of putting it down here in the hole, and it's a little bit harder to get to. I will point out that you have two USB inputs right here, so know that this is what you've got in this car. None in the back, it's just these two that are living right here. So you got to take advantage of these, understand that one is going to correct and use for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the other is just standard for charging. Something I didn't mention about the seats, but you probably want to know, is that on your driver's side, you have a powered seat. So I've got up, down, middle, left, right, all that, and my lower lumbar support. On my passenger side is a manual adjustment seat. If you want that powered seat on this side, you're gonna need to climb trim levels. So just something to be aware of. Coming across the dash, it's got a nice look. So you can see this kind of uniform finish, very minimalist, which I really do care for. As far as running right here, this started in the Civic and now lives in most of the cars. Down here, I've got 3 knobs to control my AC. So very simple setup here, and then my heated seat controls are also here. So I love that they've kind of minimized the amount of buttons. It's not overwhelming to deal with. And then you've got your screen laid out here upright, much like you would see in previous generations of like Audis and BMWs. So I like what they've done here. It's still got the protector on it here, so I'm catching a little bit of glare. But we're gonna walk through this next, but I also wanna talk about some different features that you have on the dash, and of course the steering wheel. Next up, I wanna talk to you about the steering wheel controls, and then of course, what you're gonna see in the digital display behind it, right? So over here, jumping to my next song, controlling the volume, using the voice command button, call so-and-so, pull up Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, some of that stuff, and then scrolling through different menus. And then on the other side is gonna be some of your Honda sensing features. So really quickly to touch on some of the Honda sensing features, I've got adaptive cruise control, which I can get up to my speed I want, press set. Once it's holding the speed, I can then create distance between me and the car in front of me using this right here. When I'm clicking it up on the screen, you'll see some boxes appear to let you know how much distance it's gonna keep, right? If you wanna flip over to just classic cruise, you can press and hold this, you'll hear a beep and it'll flip, boom, now I'm on classic cruise where this won't apply, right? So that's one of the features that exists. And then over here, you've got your lane keep assist. So if I turn this feature on, in the display up here, right here, you'll see a steering wheel with some lines on it. It means it's actively using the camera in the car to detect the lines on the road in front of me. So if the steering wheel starts to drift a little bit to the right or the left, when it's picking up those lines, it'll actually keep you centered to prevent you from drifting into the car next to you. So that's lane keep assist. Additional features the car has as far as safety-wise, you do have a collision mitigation braking system in the front of the car, using radar and the camera to detect cars in front of you. If it's looking like you're gonna rear end, it can audibly alert you and then actually apply the brakes to help prevent the accident. So understand that you have that available to you. And then you do have a blind spot monitoring system in this vehicle. And then of course a road departure mitigation system, meaning if I start to drive off the shoulder road, it'll give me an audible alert, vibrate the steering wheel to be like, hey, wake up, pay attention. Typically, this is what's used when you're getting a little drowsy and you've been driving for a long time. So understand you got a lot of safety features here. And then I want to say you have, I think, 6 airbags in the car, 2 front, 2 side, 2 full curtain, and I think 2 knee airbags as well. So really quickly, I just want to walk you through a little bit of this. Scrolling on the left side over here, you can see that I can get to all these different options as far as Bluetooth, USB, AM, FM, all these different things, and then customizing your display. Of course, if you want to customize, it just allows you to hide different things. So if you don't ever use AM, hey, let's just go ahead and get rid of that, right? If I don't use the USB, I could hide that as well. So it just makes it very easy to customize your vehicle. As you're coming through here, I'm going to back out. A lot of different things that you can get to if you're accessing different options, right? So on the left side, very simple as far as accessing whatever it may be the media source that I want to use. On the right side, I'm gonna use a scroller as well. And you can see this is where I can get to a little bit more of the vehicle information. So if I wanna get to speed and time, if I wanna get to driver attention monitor, just kind of keeping an eye on you, make sure if you're using all these features that you're paying attention. The seatbelt monitor, this is cool. It's showing that I'm not wearing a seatbelt right now. You can see that there. If I keep scrolling down maintenance, it'll alert you when you get down to 15% and throw you a code. You can Google the code. It'll tell you exactly what they're gonna tell you if you come into the dealership as far as, hey, you need an oil change or oil and filters or oil change and tire rotation or whatever it may be. So your regular scheduled maintenance. Safety support. So this is kind of what I was talking about a second ago, where I can affect things like the road departure mitigation system. If I'm driving off the shoulder of the road, I can turn all these on and off. My blind spot information system, that's in the mirrors where it'll light up and then the car will beep if you start to get over and there's somebody there. And then that collision mitigation braking system in the front of the car to detect cars in case you're gonna rear end them to stop the car and help prevent the accident. So know that you can turn all those features on and off. No content if you just want to blank this out. Brightness, we all know what that is. Vehicle stability assist works with your traction control, so you go into skid, it helps transfer power to whichever wheel's getting better stability, right? And then settings. Settings would be where I want to jump in and affect like my TPMS, my door locks, my windows setup, all these different things. If you want to affect and customize what the meter and the layout looks like, you can do a lot of that. Right now, I'll throw to you and kind of let you know, I made a tips and tricks video on this vehicle. So if you want to learn more about how to customize the car, set up different backgrounds, affect the keyless entry, when I get out, it automatically locks, when I touch the door handle, it unlocks all the doors versus one of the doors, or different options that you have, I've got an entire video. I'll throw it up in the top of the screen. It'll also be in the description, and I think at the end of this. So understand it'll be a few places if you want to see, hey, I've already bought the car, I want to learn a little bit about, things I can do to it to customize it. This is a 7-inch touchscreen, which is pushing out 160 watts to a 4-speaker system. So this is the more basic setup. Depending on the trim level, you can land yourself in a 10.2-inch touchscreen, depending on kind of what you're considering. This is going to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it is not going to be wireless. It is going to be the wired setup, so understand that as well. So as far as coming in here, if I want to get to Bluetooth, get to making calls, no big deal. If I want to hop to the radio, FM, AM, all those things. Media-wise, whether it's a USB, whether it's Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, I have some different options here. Jumping in, connecting, once you've connected up, which I've already done since I plugged in my phone, I can get into Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So while we're here, just a couple quick things. If you ever want to customize this setup, change the structure of what the layout is, understand that you can absolutely do that. That's in my tips and tricks video. You can also do a lot of other things. If you want to add in custom actions on nearest McDonald's, directions home, nearest Home Depot, nearest Starbucks, whatever the item may be, right? These are just examples that I've made to where I can touch them. It'll pull up my navigation. I use Google Maps, and then it'll start the navigation
is 4 minutes
for
from
me.
Your location by
right?
car in light traffic.
So easy enough to do. Understand you can do this. In my tips and tricks video, I show you exactly how to. You can also set up, custom people. So if you want to be able to call specifically me, I've got my phone number set up here where you can call me. Speaking of that, if you ever reach out to me, my email and my phone number, so if you want to call or text me or shoot me an email, is always in the description of the video. So if you ever have a question, comment, concern, or you just want to give me a high five or say, hey man, keep up the good work, know that you can. I love some positive reinforcement too. So understand Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all of these different apps that you can take advantage of. Pretty cool setup. I love that you can integrate this with the car and then be able to use it, even using the voice command off the steering wheel to take advantage of this. So that's what you're looking at as far as the touchscreen. Now, if you're not talking about Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, there's not a lot of customization that you can do. So if I unplug this for a second just to show you, it is a super basic setup, right? It's, it's gray and blue here. Not a lot to talk or really get excited about. One of the previous generations, you could customize some backgrounds, do some different things. On this one, they've really limited it to what you can do. They're really kind of counting on you using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to take advantage of the rest, which is a little bit of a letdown to me, but I understand that's kind of the way things are moving. But I would like to see wireless CarPlay land inside of this vehicle. I put my sunglasses back on because I'm feeling good, guys. We made it through the entire video as far as reviewing what the 2023 Honda Accord EX, what we're sitting in, has to offer. But quickly, I want to revisit and go over all those different comparisons. So let's start at the very front of the car and work our way back. So underneath the hood, you've got a 192 horsepower coming out of a 1.5 liter turbo engine. So I want to throw that comparison up so you can see how the horsepower of this vehicle stacks up to other makes and models in the world. Secondarily, I want to talk to you about gas mileage. This car gets 29 in the city and 37 on the highway, so I want to throw that comparison back up so that you can see how this car stacks up to other makes and models out there. Now, while that's up, I'll remind you, it's going to be the same if you're looking at a 2022 model, and then if you are looking at the hybrids, depending on whether it's a Sport or the EXL, you're looking at 46 in the city and 41 for the Sport, and you're looking at, I believe, 51 and 44 if you're looking at the EXL. So some impressive gas mileage out there in the Hondas if that's something you're interested in. Let's throw a comparison up of the front row leg space compared to other makes and models out there in the world, so you can take a look at that, and then let's talk about that second row. So in the second row, you have got 40.8 inches of leg space in the vehicle. If you're looking at the 2022 model, you're giving up 0.4 inches of leg space. You're actually gaining it in the 23, right? So not a big difference out there in the world as far as that goes. But I want you to understand how the second row competes against other makes and models out there. So I'm gonna throw that comparison up on the screen so you can see, hey, where does this car live in the mix, right? Is it where it should be? Is it a little bit bigger? Is it a little bit smaller? Whatever the case may be. Now, as we move to the very back of the car, the cargo space, AKA the trunk space, you saw me hop in it earlier. It's quite a bit of space. You got 16.7 cubic feet of space in the rear end of this vehicle. Whether you're looking at a 2022, a 2023, a hybrid, a non-hybrid, they're all the exact same as far as the cargo space or trunk space of this vehicle. So understand, pretty nice out there. So I want to throw that comparison up so you can see how this car stacks up to other makes, models that are out there in the world, and understand, hey, will this work? does it have what I need, right? Now that we've done all that, I want to ask you for a couple favors. One, I hope you press the like button. Helps always get my video a little bit further up in that algorithm so that more people see it. Hopefully you appreciate the way I do the content. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or you think I should do something different with the content, I hope you'll leave a comment. So please do leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, and even if it's just a thumbs up, I can live with that. Third, I should say, I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel when I release videos like this, tips and tricks videos, whether it be on an Accord, a CRV, whatever the case may be, something new that's coming out. I saw some 24 CRVs back there I'm gonna try to get my hands on next. I hope that you will get those notifications and, of course, see my videos. And then lastly, I hope that you'll share, right? If you like the way I did this, you like the comparisons, you like the way I do it, I try to move through things quickly, even though the videos can sometimes get a little bit long. Hopefully you appreciate that. So hope you'll share the video. So other than that, hope you'll like, comment, subscribe, share, all of the things, guys.